And we're off. How's it going, mate? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, friends. I really do. Genuinely hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, which, of course, is the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea Football Club, giving you my thoughts on it, for whatever that's worth. More importantly, asking for yours. I am recovering from tonsillitis. The stress of it all had worn me down and made me ill. But I shall rise again like Jesus did as it's Easter. Are we still in Easter? That was yesterday. Yeah, man, so it's Chelsea News. We're going to just, we're going to discuss a few things today. A little bit more on Enzo Fernandez, of course. Smiley Enzo at Stamford Bridge the other night when we won 7-0. Serving 50% of his suspension at Chelsea that the gaffer imposed on him. Let's be real. It's almost certainly the sporting hierarchy. I'm not one of these people that are going to be like, Liam Rosenior is just some sort of puppet. I'd like to think he's got some sort of voice in, not the dressing room, but like the office. Excuse me, my throat's still pretty sore. Yeah, so Enzo looks all smiley. Chatting to his teammates, joking around, positive, social media posts with Willy Issa. Apparently, Argentine media say we are, and still, trying to get him down to this new deal. It's being negotiated. Had all this wink, wink, kissy faces at Madrid generally. Been just a negotiating tactic for his new contract. Well, there's been a number stated how much it would take for Chelsea to sell him. Chelsea fans are kind of interestingly divided on Enzo Fernandez at the moment. In some saying, yeah, if he wants to go, let him go. He's eminently replaceable. We'll buy this player, we'll buy that player, whatever. Even at the height of my frustration with his behaviour, I was like, I don't want to sell Enzo Fernandez. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. There's an article on The Athletic about Estevao Willian, our teenage Brazilian sensation, who's going to hopefully save our season, and a little bit on The Guardian of Reece James's return from Jacob Steinberg as well. So, lots to get into. Strap yourselves in. Let's get into it, man. Oh yeah, thanks for liking and subscribing on the YouTube. And remember, simply by searching Football Therapy Podcast, you can get this on Spotify and Apple. Let's have a little looky then on X. This is at The Blue Dodger, which is a Chelsea News aggregation X account, saying the following. Chelsea, he's citing Vero Brunati. She is an Argentine sports journalist. Chelsea still want to improve Enzo Fernandez's contract, despite being the pause in negotiations and the strong interest from some elite clubs. PSG and Real Madrid, that's got to be. If the player decides to leave, the stance is clear. They won't let him go for less than, deep breath, 130 million Great British pounds. What's that, $160 of $1 million, whatever it is, 50 for those American people out there. Chelsea bought him for 105 million. His current book value is about 80 million. I think it might be 80 million euros. So to make a book profit, they'd have to sell for 85 or whatever. But they're not looking to make a minor book profit. They're looking to keep him. And should he dig his heels in and say, I want to leave, here is a transfer request, I'm out, man. Gracias. Adios. Then 130 million quid. I think this is one of those prices that has just been. I mean, look, I'm assuming this woman is reputable. She's got a massive following on X, and she's also followed by a lot of accounts that are reputable as well. So clearly a good journalist. So 100, that's a very definitive number to just bring out 130 million quid. But there we have it. It's a lot of money, 130 mil. And I kind of get it. That's kind of what I would have thought before all this drama if someone was to slap a lot of money. Because you keep hearing these stories about Real Madrid and Enzo Fernandez. And I'd always thought, like, for it to even become a conversation, someone would have to slap, over 125 million on the table. And the number stating here is 130 million pounds sterling, which is more in euros and dollars, of course. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Chelsea do if they did put that money on the table, but who's got that money? No one. No one's really got that money to throw around. Chelsea spent silly money on players in recent years, and arguably, I'd say not even arguably, not spent it well, I'm getting all the green screen glow on my hair, so I'm going to put a cap on. There you go, it's fixed it. So not even arguably, they've invested it in peculiar ways. Frustrating ways for us Chelsea fans, and indeed some of the previous managers, and indeed now the players themselves with Cucurella's recent comments. So he scores goals, he assists. We've been in bad form. He's been contributing just like everyone else has been to this bad form recently. So, he's not like some sort of superstar elite goal scorer that's constantly scoring that we pulled out of the team because of some comments. But yeah, I think if you said to him now, what would you rather, what's your ideal outcome? And I'm speculating here off the mood. He'd probably say, extend with Chelsea on terms that they get paid a lot of money, and also have assurances that they are going to build a better team around them. This is what Cucurella spoke about. They all want sort of assurances that the team that's going to be built around these players is one that can win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. Just like Cucurella said, they're not here to just get paid. They want to win. So kudos to you, Chelsea, for bringing in characters that are winners, that are not just paycheck picker-uppers, paycheck collectors. They want to win, although if maybe there's a little bit of hypocrisy here, because maybe if we just give him the money he wants, he'll shut up. But, he could stay, get slightly improved terms that everyone agrees on, and hopefully we become a winning team again. Pray to all your respective gods. Alrighty, so Enzo Fernandez, £130 million, or a new contract. But let's speak about this. This is on The Athletic by Keris Jones. Estevao, the bright spark Chelsea will need in the daunting run-in ahead. Boy, don't we need him. Let's see if I have the capacity with my illness to read through a Athletic article. Chelsea's players enjoyed a far better post-match soundtrack on Saturday than the boos that accompanied their Champions League exit in their previous home game. Yeah, it was gross. Stamford Bridge emptied to That's the Way, I Like It. Of course, the Estevao song. Estevao could have scored a hat-trick against Port Vale, but, Port Vale. He was lying in wait just behind Cole Palmer when Jordan Lawrence Gabriel inadvertently turned the ball into his own net on the stroke of half-time. He hit both posts, of course, in the second half, and he registered an assist and made an inch-perfect cross for the Brazilian teammate Andre Santos to make it 5-0. He would eventually score 8 minutes from the end, only for it to be initially disallowed, and of course it was given to him after the VAR check. Chelsea need leadership. Severely lacking, gang, and stability at the moment, but as they enter a nasty-looking run-in into the campaign, where we can't afford to slip up, we need belief. Something the Brazilian has in abundance. Rosenior said we missed him with Match of the Day. He's been injured for pretty much 6 weeks in terms of his hamstring, which is a real tough one to take for us. It's tough, isn't it? Because he's a kid. He's a kid. It's his first season in Europe. And he's like, we've missed him. Save us, Estevao. But it does genuinely feel a bit like that now, doesn't it? He comes in and he just plays. He enjoys playing football and just wants to get on the ball, whether he's on the pitch, whether he's a threat, and he's going to be a real plus for us into the running. It's interesting because it does feel with Liam Rosenior that the stuff he says, it's going to be like, just enjoy it, man. Just go and vibe, Estevao. Go and play your football. Don't worry about occupying zone 47 in phase 2 when this player's there and you reverse the Rubik's Cube tactics then. It will be, no, go and cook. Samba boy there. Go and do your Samba boy ting, fam. You know? Which might be me doing Rosenior a little bit dirty, because seemingly he's worked wonders with Joao Pedro in terms of his positioning and goal scoring threat. So, but he does seem to let the players play a little bit more. He was praised for that by some players. And then you've got obviously players like Cucurella criticising it because it's a bit systemless at times. I mean, to be fair, in these final games, we are going to need players believing in themselves and just running our position. And we've got talented footballers. Even if it's a dysfunctional group of players to make a team, we've got talented footballers and they need to believe in themselves for this run-in so we can still meet our targets. Nobody in the Chelsea dressing room should or will be getting carried away after thrashing a team bound from relegation from League One. The upcoming Premier League clashes with City and United will be infinitely more difficult. At best, this resounding win will only temporarily quiet the noise around the futures of players like Enzo Fernandez in the summer. Yeah, I mean, imagine if we just get slapped up loads by the next teams coming. Enzo gets on the mic again. And then we're back in the trenches within, no time at all. Chelsea need deeper solutions in the long term than any 18-year-old Brazilian can provide. Amen. Church. Preach. But in the short term, this run-in is where the team's youthful exuberance can be best exemplified by Estevao. He needs to prove its worth to provide a spark. Chelsea will play 8 games in the next 7 weeks. 3 of them against the top 5, they're in the top 5 of the Premier League, and another high profile at Wembley. Leeds, by the way, dirty Leeds. We've not got the better of them recently. Rosenior's got a bad record against Farke. You may have seen it on social media, but I wanted Leeds. I wanted them more than West Ham. I think, I know it's not a final, and you talk back to 1970 or whatever. It's not a final. But it's at Wembley. I know it was at Old Trafford, the game back in the day. But this is Leeds at the arse end of the FA Cup. It feels right. And it feels like, after we've struggled against them this season, just beat them at Wembley. Show them we're Chelsea and like that grudge match against. I really wanted Leeds. I mean, I can't imagine losing to them. It makes me feel sick. But winning to Leeds is just the tonic I wanted. Maybe it's a bit more of an old school Chelsea thing, but my word, that's what I want. That is the tonic for me. Beating Leeds at Wembley. Dirty Leeds. Yeah, so basically, youthful exuberance. Estevao, we're going to have to lean on him heavily, writes Keris Jones. He speaks about Andre Santos and Joel Hato. A lot of people are really happy with Joel Hato and Andre Santos. Hato criminally underused all season, I'd argue. Well, with Maresca, underused. Santos, of course, lost his place a little bit, but he looked, maybe we could find some groove again with Santos. Lots of people already. Also, Malo Gusto. I mean, I said it in my match review of that game, but lots of people have since come out and said, yeah, Gusto had a great game. Again, Port Vale, huge caveat, but can't do them any harm playing in a knockout round in the FA Cup at home and winning in style. It's a good thing. So let's skip forward. She speaks a little bit more about, Estevao's importance, certain absent players and depth and stuff. Rosenior was full of praise for his team's intensity against Port Vale. Again, Port Vale. His decision to hand Cole Palmer the armband in the absence of James and Fernandez, and his justification for doing so, which should be interesting, showed that he understands the importance of enthusiasm and energy in the run-in. He said the following, the gaffer. You have 2 different types of leadership, Rosenior said. You have the players who talk, who organise. What Cole does when he leads, he's so brave and he'll take the ball on the pitch. If he makes a mistake, he'll take the ball and be positive again. This reflects what I want in his team. So it's the classic leading by example on the pitch. The image of Estevao hitting the post, lowering his head to the ground, then grinning and bouncing back up to his feet, perhaps sums up the sentiment that's best. That's easy to do when you're winning comfortably against League One opposition, but has shown resilience before. It's striking. Yeah, it's the Everton example, wasn't it? We were losing 3-0. He picked up the ball straight away and ran to the centre circle. We need that, man. We need everyone to just sort of humble themselves and just start playing football again and believe. Because we've seen our moments. The comeback against West Ham. Yeah, there's loads of other examples of this young team doing good comebacks. But as good as that is, and as much as we need that now, that belief, that mental resilience, it's not tenable for long term. You need to build, an iron team of leaders and winners and experience to truly challenge. You can't have the comeback kids forevermore. Firstly, it's too stressful for all of us, and it's just basically unrealistic. If we can lean it now to the rest of the season, not PSG heads dropping after 75 minutes in the first leg, or Everton away. Believe in yourselves again. Use that youthful exuberance, that high-octane dopamine, adrenaline, get over the line, and then the sporting directors and ownership have a good look at yourselves and build something much, much more secure and built on more solid foundations. So, speaking of sanctioned vice captains and, captains like Cole Palmer on the pitch and leadership on the pitch, let's take a look at this from The Guardian. Jacob Steinberg. Reece James on track to deliver World Cup boost with Chelsea return. Yeah, so this is double for me. Of course, I'm a Chelsea fan, but I'm an England fan. I want Reece James at the World Cup, as you could imagine. So this is from, like I said, Jacob Steinberg. Reece James could boost England's World Cup's hopes by returning from a hamstring injury at the start of next month. Damn. So not till May. I was hoping that'd be a little bit sooner, I must say, but here we are, the start of next month. The Chelsea defender has been out since picking up problems during last month's defeat by Newcastle. Yuck. Oh, I'm having freaking fever dreams about all these memories, raising doubts of whether he'd be able to be fit to represent his country this summer. There were initial fears that James, who has not sustained a hamstring injury since November 2024, he was being overplayed again, I think. I think this medical team, they were treating him so well, they were dealing with it so well. They played him like 3 games in a row, I think, 90 minutes in quick succession. And I think they broke their own rules and it screwed him, basically. He was facing up to 2 months on the sidelines and in danger of not playing again this season. Ouch! And the absence of that would would leave Tuchel with a major decision on whether to gamble in terms of getting Reece James in his 26-man squad, which is smaller than the one we've just seen, for the World Cup. However, there are indications that the right-back is making good progress and could be back at the end of this month or in early May. At the end of this month would be good. I would really like that. James has established himself as Tuchel's favoured choice right back. Well, he loves him. He calls him Reece, doesn't he? From his time at Chelsea, he loves Reece. He was unavailable when England faced Uruguay and Japan. Fortunately, I didn't watch the Japan game, but the Uruguay game hurt my eyes. Whenever we play friendlies under Tuchel, they're awful. Like the Senegal 3-1 defeat. But then in between, he went on like a sort of unprecedented winning streak without conceding any goals. Oh well, just keep winning competitive games and I'll be fine. Tuchel also has Jed Spence, Ezri Konsa and Kwanzaa as options at right back. Showing little interest in Trent Alexander-Arnold when he's out. Trent's just simply not in the picture for Tuchel's England. Chelsea, who are 6th in the Premier League. Of course, we face turned into Jonathan Ross there. We face Manchester City on Sunday. We'll also be eager to have James back as quickly as possible, especially if we get to an FA Cup final. If we beat Leeds, which we bloody should do, dirty Leeds, and then you want Reece James at Wembley in an FA Cup final. Of course you ruddy do, mate. Of course you do. The captain recently extended his contract, of course, to 2032, and also had a strong season. James has offered his usual excellence at right back and also impressed in central midfield. He can do it all. Can Captain Reece James? Reece Flames. I do hope he's back soon because we do miss his leadership. It is interesting that Cole Palmer could be a captain for a little bit. I'll be very, very interested to see, transition for dramatic effect, if Enzo Fernandez, after the Man City suspension, if he comes back in and is immediately given the armband back. or if they've quite, because no one's actually asked Rosenior that directly. Is he still the vice captain? Which is, I would have asked that if I was a journalist in that press room. I would have been like, so you're sanctioning him. You said it's against the culture. After those comments, is he still going to be vice captain? Also, someone like Levi Cole's coming back soon as well, and he's a natural leader as well. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he was given the vice. If we eventually sell Enzo Fernandez and Levi Cole becomes vice captain, I would not be at all surprised. Anyway, gang, let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them down in the comments. Thank you for liking and subscribing here on YouTube. I do appreciate it, genuinely. And for following and 5-starring on your podcast apps simply by searching Football Therapy Podcast. My throat hurts. I'm going to get a lozenge. I hope I feel better in the next day or two. But you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you back here soon, hopefully. Peace.